Hey everybody, I'm back with another exceptionally long leatherworking video. So I've got this map here of my favorite place to hike, and I needed a place to keep it. And so I had this tube also, a little cardboard tube, and the map fit in it, but as you can see, didn't want to stay in there. So I decided to turn it into a map case. So I got to brainstorming, I put some materials together, and this is what I did. So the first thing we need to do is make a butt cap. And the best way to do that I found is to make one from scratch. And so I got some cardboard, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some rings of cardboard about the size of the outside and some the size of the inside. And that's me marking the inside diameter of the tube. And then you cut out all these circles, and you got about 4 little circles and 4 big circles. And you laminate those together with some Super 77. But first, before you get to the gluing, you need to rough up the glossy side of the whatever cardboard you're using. Now, if you got like cardstock or something like that, you can skip this step obviously, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Just give it a rough side, and then you put your gloves on and get to gluing. So what I did here was I glued the little ones together, all the little ones together, and then I glued all the big ones together. And that Super 77 glue 3M spray adhesive is really the only spray adhesive that's worth buying. Everything else is garbage. It's runny and watery and doesn't work. So I glued all the little pieces together and the big pieces together, and I clamped them together and I let them set up for about, I don't know, 10-20 minutes, something like that. I'm rather impatient. That's why I like to use spray adhesive, because it sets up pretty quick. And as you can see, the wax paper is a great thing to stick them together with, but they're still a little sticky. They come right off, but they're still a little sticky, so gloves on again, and they came out pretty nice. Oh yeah, and then you gotta adjust your double articulating swivel arm to make sure you get a good camera shot as well. So after you get your little wafers, you want to clean them up. I use a razor knife. That works really well. And you always want to try to err on the side of bigger, because you can always take off material, but you can't put material back on. Well, it's harder to put material back on, put it that way. And so to stick the two main wafers together, the big wafer and the little wafer, I went ahead and used super glue, because once again, I am impatient, and I was fairly certain I could get these lined up before the super glue dried, and I did. And you can see right here, I got the squeeze out, so I know I've got enough glue going all the way around, so that worked out really well. And what you get is this shouldered, really stiff butt cap that, after some more cleanup, is going to fit really well into the bottom of that tube. Like I said, after some cleanup, it fits pretty good right now, but it's kind of, the paper's kind of smashing itself. The two pieces of paper are smashing into each other, so you want to cut off all the sharp edges and rough corners and stuff like that. And after I cleaned it up with the razor knife, it fit very well. So since this is a really important joint on the whole project, is probably the single most important joint on the whole project, I went ahead and used wood glue. And I like to use wood glue when I'm gluing paper products together, because it's, nothing beats it for wood, paper, or anything like that. It's the strongest imaginable bond. It's the glue itself is much stronger than the paper, so, and the glue soaks into the paper really well, so you get just a really superior joint. And I made sure I got glue in every little nook and cranny as well. And there you go. And the glue also lubricates the joint so it slides in real easy. And of course wax paper makes cleanup very simple. I like using wax paper anytime I do any kind of glue up. And then you put a little weight on it and you wait for it to dry. Now we're going to pick out our leather for our project, and this is my drawer where I keep all my scraps of leather. All of this leather is almost 100% of it is upholstery leather that I cut off of couches that I found on the side of the road, genuine leather couches. And I have so much because down here in Louisiana it flooded recently, and me and a buddy of mine went cruising around for leather couches, so we got quite a haul. This is maybe half of it, maybe less. We got quite a bit of stuff. And the upholstery leather is great for projects like this when you're, well, I'm literally upholstering that map case. So I picked the light brown and the dark brown as an accent. So now we got to make a pattern for our map case, and I like to make patterns with masking tape. It works really well. You just cover whatever it is you're trying to cover in leather in masking tape first. It could be a tube, it could be a wizard's staff, but you want to make sure you got plenty of overlap when you put the tape on, because when you peel the tape off you're going to want it to stick to itself really well. So you just cover the whole thing, whatever it is, in masking tape, and you trim it up, and then you cut it down the side, make a nice long cut down the side wherever you want your seam to be, make a nice straight cut, and then you peel it off. And boom, you have your pattern for your map case or your wizard staff, or, I mean, you could make barding for your dog. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome? Leather armor for your dog or your cat. And, you know, when the zombie apocalypse comes, we don't want our dogs turning into zombies. That would be horrifying. So protect your pets by spay and neutering and also making them leather armor. So then you just stick your pattern to whatever it is, and you could stick it to flannel or fleece or whatever it is you want to cover your whatever it is you're covering. It's a pretty versatile technique, all in all. And so you just stick it to whatever it is, whatever medium you're using, cut it out, peel it off, and boom. And right here you're going to notice that it doesn't quite come all the way around, and that is very much on purpose. Because the leather is stretchy, it's going to make up the difference between when we sew it up, and it's also going to be a nice and tight fit. If for this project you definitely want a tight fit. That way we don't need any kind of glue or anything like that. It'll literally just stay on by itself. Plus, if we're off by a few millimeters once we're done sewing it together, we'll be able to move it a little bit. And this is how you thread a needle for sewing with wax thread. Those are leather needles. They're not pointy. They've got rounded ends on them. They're not sharp. And also the other thing you're going to want whenever you're doing any kind of stitching is something to clamp down whatever it is you're stitching. That makes it so much easier, and just a delight to do your stitching if and when you have, missed a stitch there, we go, gotta fix it. Whenever you're putting your stitching in, it's so much nicer to have it clamped down. Otherwise you're fighting with it the whole time. And when I sew the accents on later, I don't really have a good way to clamp them, and you'll see I'll be fighting with them later. So as you can see, I'm using this kind of corset stitch, which I like. I like the X pattern. It really displays the stitching. Plus I'm using a thread that contrasts a lot with the leather itself, and so that way you can really see the stitching really well. Oh, right here I messed up. I dropped a stitch or something, and I had to back unstitch a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know how I did that. It's all knotted up. I even looked at the video and I'm like, man, what did I do? But yeah, that last stitch is really important, because the two final stitches where the two stitches go through, and messed up again, got to back stitch again, have to finish on the bottom side of whatever you stitch. So when you tie your knots right there, the knots end up underneath, and oh, it looks so nice. Yes, it does. So beautiful. But your knots need to be tucked underneath the leather. As you can see, it was right there. So this is where I decided to cut out the accent pieces, and you don't see it because it'd been way too long if I showed all my mistakes. But this is the third attempt to put an accent butt cap on this map case, and so I cut out the cuff and I cut out the bottom of the cuff, and here's me using the pricking iron to prick some holes in the bottom of the cuff. Now obviously I pricked holes in the main sheath. I just didn't show that. This is me here doing some pricking and drawing some guidelines. I used that old school compass I electrical taped a pin to draw guidelines, and I did this on the main sheath as well. I'm just showing it here because I really only feel like I need to show it maybe once per video. And so again, you draw your guideline, you take your pricking iron, and you prick some holes in there. That's some people call it a pricking iron, some people call it other stuff. That terms escape me now. And you draw your guidelines, you prick all your holes, and the pricking irons are really great. They come in a set of 1, 2, 4, and 8 prongs per iron, and they really make doing this go much faster. So fast, in fact, that you can you really get a rhythm sometimes, and just fly through your work with these pricking irons. You'll see any minute here I'll get into a rhythm. There it goes. Yeah, see? Makes work go so much faster, and it makes it look a lot nicer and cleaner. All your lines are straight, all your holes are exactly the same distance apart. And it really just makes your projects look that much neater. Now, you could do all of this with a sewing awl. I mean, you could do 100% of it with a sewing awl and a razor knife. It would not come out this straight. The angles would not be right angles. The holes would not be equidistant. And it would look much more, it would look much more, like a pirate. Which, ask me any day of the week. I love pirate stuff. And if you're just making something, I don't know, say you're just making something for yourself for hunting, something nobody's going to see, or you don't care if they see it, or you want it to look homemade, which I love. I love that look. I'll do stuff like that on a regular basis. I've got stuff I carry around with me all day, every day that looks like garbage. Because, I didn't say it looked like garbage. It looks very homemade. It looks very primitive. None of the lines are straight. The stitching's coming apart, that kind of stuff. You don't really see the stitching. The stitching's not been showcased, etc., etc. And I did the whole thing with a sewing awl, and it didn't take me any time at all. And wham bam, I knocked it out, and I got something very useful that I've been carrying around for a long time. Now, right here, you see I'm having trouble trying to figure out how to end the stitches on the back side, and I'm thinking about it because I didn't have an odd number of sets of holes, but I decided to go ahead and, once again, stitching doesn't have to be perfect. A little asymmetry, a little bit of character, all those little things bring character to your projects, and they make them unique. Now, as you can see here, a little bit better than last time, the knots tie up behind the leather, and I do a triple overhand knot that'll never come loose, cut it, and as you can see, it's hidden behind the leather. You never see that. It just looks, all you see is the stitches. You don't see the knots, you don't see the beginning or the end. And so now I'm going to take that ring and I'm going to sew it onto the bottom. And I gave myself a little room. I kind of pulled the cuff down as to expose the stitches, or the holes for the stitches. And I started by tying a triple overhand knot. This time I'm not doing a saddle stitch with 2 needles. I'm doing a single needle stitch, and I'm just going around and around and around through the holes. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The holes are nice and straight and equidistant, and so if my stitching is a little wonky, it's still going to look okay. I'm going through each hole twice, that's not really necessary. This is, once again, this is upholstery leather, and it's not super strong. If this was veg tan, full grain leather, then doing the double stitch would be appropriate. But I'm doing the double stitch more for aesthetics than anything else. And at some point I kind of get tired of that and realize that I don't need to be doing the double stitch. I start doing single stitches until I get to the end again, and I do double stitches again. But the thread is much, much stronger than this upholstery leather. And this leather isn't going to be, this particular seam isn't going to be bearing any weight. And so I'm not too worried about it. Now, right here it's really important. You see I start running out of thread, and you want to finish your stitch. You want to go ahead and make a knot before your thread gets too short. Otherwise, you'll be trying to make a knot with almost no thread at all. And you know, yeah, you waste a couple of inches of thread, but that's no big deal. It's the time and the headache. See, once again, I'm inside it, and I'm making a knot through one of those stitches. So you're not going to see that knot on the finished product. But like I said, you waste 2 or 3 inches of thread, but every single time you make stitches, you're going to waste a bunch of thread on the inside and a bunch of thread on the outside. And that's just the nature of the beast. You have to have a working amount of thread. Otherwise, you're going to be just fiddling around with little bitty tiny pieces of nothing thread. It's just not worth it. That spool you saw me pull the thread off of has, I think it's 300 yards or something like that on it. I may literally never use all that thread. So we're going to skip ahead to the end where I finish up these stitches at the very end. And as you can see, I make a knot on the inside, and that knot, I even thread the tail. Oops, I missed. I had to go back through. I even thread the tail through the end and cut it, so that way everything's on the inside. And it came out looking pretty nice. Now you see the butt right there it's a little loose, but that's on purpose. So you just take it, and when you spin it, the whole thing's gonna, when you spin it, there you go, when you spin it, the whole thing's gonna move, and it's gonna slide down. It's all gonna tighten up. And that, like I said, once again, the upholstery leather, it's chrome tan. It's very thin, but it's still got, there's not much of it, but it's still got a little bit of stretch to it. So you want to try to get everything nice and tight. And it came out really nice. I was actually very surprised at how nice it came out. So finally, the last step is going to be make a lid for our map case so the map doesn't slide out. So the first thing I like to do when I'm making a lid for something, or when I'm wrapping something in something else, whatever it is you put a thin layer of, in this case, wax paper, very, very tight, a single layer, almost a single layer, a little bit more than a single layer, very, very, very tight against that. And we're going to make the cap from scratch, and I want the cap to be about 3 inches long. So what I'm going to do is, this is cardstock. This is 80 weight, I believe, in American paperweight. 80 weight cardstock, and we're going to roll it around the wax paper. We're going to take some of that Super 77, my favorite stuff for laminating paper and cardboard and stuff like that, and we're going to glue that paper around on itself. We're going to make a tube for our cap, and we're going to make it real tight as we can, and we're using wax paper again, and we're going to laminate about 7 sheets of paper in this case, which came out to each sheet wrapped around about 1.5 times, so that's like 13.5 or something. 13.5 layers of 80 weight cardstock all laminated together, and I only show making a couple of layers here. But when you're done with that and you take the wax paper off, you're going to get a very tight lid. As you can see, it's going to be very snug. It's not going to be too snug. And then what you can do with that is you can cut it to whatever length you want, and then you get this really robust cap that we're going to cover in leather. And I made another butt cap for that cap as well, same way as I did before, out of the beer boxes. And I also upholstered it in the exact same way as I did before. I put a belt strap right there, just more or less for looks. And there's the cap that I upholstered just like the butt, upholstered in the exact same way as before. Everything's identical. And as you can see, I also use some Sharpie to make the end of it black so you couldn't see the white in there, which worked out really well. Then you just roll up your favorite map. And you try to get the camera to focus, and the camera doesn't want to focus. And you slide the map in there, and the cap goes on nice and snug. Nice and snug, man. And when you pull the cap off, there's even a little pop. So it's almost airtight. And I'll tell you what, that's not going to fall off while you're hiking. Got a really good action. It's got a really good feel to it, man. It's perfect, to be honest. And the cap, it's not going to fall off. You can shake it as hard as you want, up and down, back and forth. It won't fall off under its own weight, or even the map jiggling around inside. Even if you sling it, it won't fall off. So there it is. How to make a map case, or how to make a map case from scratch. Just need some cardboard and some leather, a little bit of needle and thread, wax thread, and go to town. Thanks for watching. See you next time.